Learn to capture your audience because you could be an incredible creator. You could go viral on TikTok. You could do incredible on YouTube. But if you are not capturing your audience
Hmm.
into your own ecosystem, you'll never be able to do anything with them. And any one of those platforms could go away in a second.
Hey everyone, Nate here with Imaginated. I had the opportunity to sit down with Vanessa Joy, one of the educational creators in our directory in the photography category. Vanessa is a successful educational creator within the photography niche who has amassed over 8 million views to her educational content. Not only is she one of the top photography educators, but she is also a business owner, wedding photographer, and a mother. In this video, we discuss what led her to become an educational creator, how to become a successful one, how to balance work life and personal life when creating content, how to create and foster a sense of community, and lots more. If you want to explore a certain section and jump to that, you can find in the show notes and description box down below some timestamps. Being somebody who creates content as well, I was able to learn some valuable insights in just the short time I met with Vanessa, and I hope you will too. Enjoy. You got started in photography in 2002, right? I saw from your channel. And then I looked on your YouTube and it said you started about 2011. So could you just maybe walk us through, from starting photography and then deciding to become like hopping on YouTube, creating content like 9 years later, and what that journey was like?
Hmm. Yeah. It's like, which date is correct and how
Yeah.
old is she?
Oh, no.
That's one of the top search
Is it
features
really? Oh.
when you Google my name. Um, so I actually started closer to like
Mm,
1998,
mm,
learning photography, but even earlier than that, because my mother was a photographer. So
mm,
I was always around cameras and
mm,
lighting and studio. And I started to love it and really take it as my own
mm.
when I was in high school and I learned black and white darkroom photography on the camera that I have
There
right
it
here.
is. That's awesome.
Which was my mom's camera. So
Nice.
I learned on this one and fell in love with it. And my high school photography teacher shot weddings on the weekend. So I worked for him afterwards
Mm,
and just I fell in love with it. I
mm.
absolutely loved it. I thought I had to have a real job, so I went and became a Spanish teacher. Um, I hated that. Not for the sake of the kids. The kids were fine. My personality is not one that likes to be micromanaged.
Mhm. I feel that.
I didn't do well with that.
I like how you said like real job with photography
Real job.
because I do like photography part time as well, and so
Okay.
yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from. So starting from that and then deciding to dive into YouTube in like 2011, what was kind of the inspiration for that? Was it kind of like you were seeing colleagues around you diving into YouTube, creating content? Was it kind of like supplement your brand or just extra income? What was that like?
Well, I started teaching at conferences
Mm,
and that whole circuit a little bit earlier, I think closer to like 2009, 2010, something around there, probably 2010. And then because of that, I developed brand relationships and my first YouTube videos were for Adorama, a camera company, early electronics company, and a lot of other things. But I did videos for them on their YouTube channel for 5 years. And probably about year three-ish, I had a friend of mine who was also an Adorama TV host tell me, like, you need to start your own thing. What
mm,
if one day they just decide to drop
yeah.
you? And I was like, you know what? You're right. I believe in, diversifying and revenue buckets and
Hmm.
all the things. So thanks to Miguel Quiles, I started my own YouTube channel. And thanks to another friend of mine, Jared Polin, I learned how to be a YouTuber. Although not quite the same as I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Frodo's
Fro
photo,
knows.
his style little different,
I
but
saw your video,
that
your parody video. I love that video.
we're friends.
uh,
He's crazy,
yeah,
but he knows his stuff, man. So I learned a lot from him. Jumped into YouTube, and hopefully this year I will get my silver play button.
nice. Yeah, I know you're close, right? About 90,000. I saw that.
I'm almost at
Yeah, you're like
90,000. Yeah.
87 right now.
Hmm.
I know you have, as you mentioned, like a bachelor's in education, correct?
Yeah, I
Like a
have
BA. Okay.
five college
Uh,
degrees. Yeah, double bachelor education in Spanish, and then I technically have a photography degree in social sciences and music.
well, I know
So
coming from that
that's
teaching background, how were you able to kind of bring that, into the YouTube space and the way you create content, schedule content?
yeah. I mean, that's why I started teaching. I would
Mm,
go to these conferences, incredible photographers, so excited to learn how they do what they do, and they didn't know how to teach anything. It was just like, here's my work. It's awesome. I remember the moment it happened, and here's what we were all feeling. And I'm like, that's great. But how did you do that? How did you get it to look like that? And, so I was a teacher. I know
Yeah.
how to teach.
Hmm.
So I was like, I could do this. So I did. And my whole thing when it comes to YouTube videos or conferences and workshops is I always want to be the one that's speaking English to
Hmm.
everyone because I think it's not the instructor's fault, but we have that phenomenon, the curse of knowledge, right? Is that what it's
Hmm.
called? Where like you think you're going down to a beginner level, but you're
Hmm.
really still at like a 7 and you need to get down to closer to a
Yeah.
3. So that's always been my goal.
Yeah, trying to use almost not big words, but like a lot of slang and stuff like that. And
Yes.
yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of different forms.
photoese.
Yeah, right. Cool. So how has your I guess approach to teaching changed over time at maybe like a high level? And what have you learned about this, creating content, educational content throughout the years?
Hmm. Well, YouTube changed it
Mm.
a lot. I would say that I shifted, and more heavily this year than previous years, I shifted heavily into talking about the gear
Mm.
because that's what gets the numbers.
Hmm.
And that's another thing that kind of drives me a little bit
Yeah.
crazy. And not against like other YouTubers, but you're going to tell me how to use this camera, but you don't use it in your profession. You didn't spend money to buy that camera because you believe in it, because it's good for this
Mm.
tangibly. So that's how I differ. I think I won't talk about gear that I haven't put in my hands. And I am a Canon Explorer of Light, so I am only going to talk about Canon gear. But it's like chicken or the cart or the horse, It's
Yeah.
like that's what I use. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. I'm not going to tell you what a Sony is like when I haven't touched the Sony.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And that leads, I know, because I was going to ask that question too, like, because I write blogs as well. Like, how do you balance that need to create content that's, new and innovative, opposed to
Hmm.
one that's like trendy, hopping on the bandwagon? It's kind of a fine line, right? How do you balance that?
It is,
Mhm.
yeah. With a very, very high level of ADHD, that's how I balance it.
Uh,
So, like after this, I'm going to go record something on ChatGTP
nice.
because
Yeah.
that's trending.
Yeah.
That's trending
Exactly.
right now.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I am very organized. So I will record YouTube videos. I'll
Hmm.
do like 10 to 12 in a day,
Wow.
and I'll have like a recording day where whether it's like a shoot day and I'm doing all the shooting and we're just making full videos from that. Some days I'll do just talking head all day in my
Hmm.
studio just to kind of bang it out. Like right now, I have a backlog of 40 to 50 YouTube
Wow.
videos, technically more.
Nice.
And it's not like a bad backlog.
Hmm.
It's just that's how much I've done because I'm not just a YouTuber. I'm
Yeah.
a portrait
Yeah.
photographer and a wedding photographer and a mom, and I have to batch the content. So I've got the staples that way. And then that also frees up my time for like, hey, everyone's talking about ChatGTP. Let me do that.
Yeah.
Or right now, a ton of AI companies for editing and photo culling, they are spending so much money on YouTubers making videos on them. So I have the bandwidth to be like, okay, yeah, I'll make one. I released this week one on
AI.
Imagen
Hmm.
AI,
Hmm.
which is awesome. Next week or 2 weeks from now, I'm going to do one on ePhoto.
Hmm.
Also awesome.
Yeah.
They're, so you got it's like a balance, right?
Yeah.
ADHD and organization.
Great pair. How do you I guess how do you then, stay motivated and inspired and keep coming up with new topics? I know some people love the whiteboard idea, some people use Asana. What's your kind of content ideation process?
You know, we do use Asana. That's for after it's already created,
Mm.
like to make sure we don't film videos and then never edit them because that absolutely has happened before.
Yeah.
Like, wait, didn't we do that already? Why? Where is that video? But then the other stuff, I'm pretty simple. I have a video idea and I email it to myself, and then it stays in my inbox as unread until I do it. Literally, in my inbox right now is video on ChatGTP. I will hopefully get to
Yeah.
today or tomorrow.
Is it usually kind of just like walking throughout the day if an idea pops in your head, kind of just email it to yourself really quick? Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
And
perfect.
that, I mean, that's how I do like to-do lists and everything too.
Yeah.
And with Google's like schedule send now, if I want to clear my inbox, I can be like, okay, all this stuff I'm going to just put on Monday's plate. So I
Mhm.
just, schedule send it to myself to pop up on Monday.
Yeah, for sure. And then I know you mentioned, being a mom, balancing your actual your photography business itself. So like how do you balance the demands of, creating the content with other aspects of your work and personal life? How is that kind of I know, being your own boss, it's kind of like you you sleep where you
My
work.
boss is a jerk. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you balance that now, and maybe how was it back then? Did you kind of feel burnout or anything like that? What's that balance like
Yeah, I
now?
mean, I've been doing this for over 20 years, so I have
Hmm.
felt burnout after burnout. I think it's
Hmm.
just part of the creative cycle,
Yeah.
feeling burnout.
Hmm.
You have to because you get good at something, so you keep doing it and you get burnout. But burnout, in a lot of ways, for creatives, is really just being bored.
Yeah.
So you have to find something new to cycle through again. I've done various things like, oh, I'm going to learn a new off-camera flash. It's a big one for me, and that bursted forward lots of creative opportunities.
Yeah.
And then right now it's bringing back the old stuff like blurry photos and direct flash and dragging the shutter. Okay, fine. Or I'll shoot film where I have, oh, it's not here. The Everyone's looking at the point and shoot cameras now for
Hmm.
fun. I'm like, yeah, I'll buy my old point and shoot camera again. Go play with that. That's cool. And then sometimes it's more about like the mental connection, the emotional connection. So I photograph weddings,
Yeah.
and I don't know, about 10 years was kind of burnt out on those. And
Mm.
instead of photographing or instead of concentrating on the photography, I decided to start like emotionally investing in my clients, which is a dangerous thing. But I just decided to take an extra second while I was photographing to try to relate to them a little bit more, to be more empathetic, to be more in the moment. And that definitely helped.
Nice.
Eventually, it hurts though, too, because you're already photographing and giving them a piece of your soul, and then you decide to get emotionally connected, and then it's like, okay, gotta be real careful.
How you just mentioned that kind of like the trend of the point and shoot cameras. So do you also use maybe any like keyword tools, or do you kind of just take a look at the content other creators are producing? Um,
I
yeah.
tend to take a look at just what's happening in
Mm.
the industry and what comes across my plate, what I see what other photographers are doing. Obviously, all of us YouTubers kind of talk here and
Mm.
there. Every once in a while, I'll look at a keyword trend, but to be honest, there's so many videos to make
There.
and so much content to create that's already in my brain that I hardly have to look at anything. And it's funny, when I first started doing YouTube videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to think of all these things? And
Mm.
now I'm like, I don't have enough time to do all the things I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know, so little time with so much content. But
Yeah.
switching kind of more and then like the social side, how do you, especially with the advent of TikTok, Twitter, everything, kind of like how do you balance that need to be on like all the platforms? How has that been
Oh,
for you?
yeah. I am on all the platforms. I would say I just decide where I get the most return. And for me, that's on Instagram and YouTube. So that's where I concentrate. And return comes twofold. One, just, where your audience is, and then also where the client base is. So right now with wedding clients, portrait clients, they're still on Instagram. They're a little bit on TikTok, but not as much. Or at least I don't attract them as much on TikTok. So I do post everywhere, but I tend to create my posts with Instagram in mind most.
Nice. So yeah, I was gonna ask that. What channels would you say are like successful for you? In terms of driving traffic and new users, would you
Mhm.
say it's Instagram and like YouTube?
Instagram, yeah, Instagram and YouTube.
I know a lot of creators kind of like success, right, is kind of a term that's very like subjective. Success could be like happiness for you, freedom, time. I guess how do you measure success of your content? Is it views, subscribers, engagement? Um, in your words.
I am a sucker for the numbers, I have to say. And I think that is also derived from the people that are paying to sponsor the videos. They're also subject to the numbers. So if my numbers are not doing well, then they're not going to be happy and they're not going to pay to create the content and put food on my
Mm.
tables. I do tend to look at that and hard data. I do appreciate the comments though. Like I
Yeah.
take that into consideration.
Mm.
For example, one of the last shorts I posted on YouTube, it was about like my journey of being a teacher first and then quitting and all that. And it doesn't have a lot of views, but it has a lot of incredible comments because people shared their stories. And I think that's really powerful too.
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess on that with the comments and kind of responding to people, how do you how do you best like to engage with your audience and kind of create that sense of community around your content? Is it like Facebook groups? I know you have
Well, I
photo
created a
insiders.
community is what
Yeah,
I
photo
did.
insiders,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I created a community,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the reasons for creating it, aside from another revenue bucket and a
Mm-hmm.
place where I could actually put my solid education, that where people valued it, because on YouTube they don't value the solid education, they value the gear talks, or at
Mm-hmm.
least the numbers lean towards that way. So I created that because I couldn't keep up with all the comments on YouTube, and I couldn't keep up with all the comments on Instagram and the emails I get and flat out phone calls. I don't know how people find my phone number, but man, they find my phone number. I
Mm-hmm.
can't answer my phone anymore. And it, so I was like, I need to create a place because I have a heart for this. I want to help people. I want to be there and answer all their questions
Mm-hmm.
about all the things, but I have to prioritize, because if I don't do that, then my family's never going to see me. Neither will my clients. So I created Photo Insiders so that I could be there. We have a Discord group because I really just don't want another Facebook group. Dear God, no. We yeah, we hang out in Discord,
Mm-hmm.
and I love Discord because
Yeah.
it's just sectioned into different topics, and like I have easy places for them to grab their vendor discounts and their bonus downloads, and I can always update things. It's more reliable, I think, than trying to email everybody. That always goes Lord knows where. So that's what we do. And
I,
it's a good community.
I love how you mentioned like Discord, and then like you could go the Slack route, the Facebook group route. I guess then
Hmm.
my question is, like, what role do you think the technology and new platforms like how you just mentioned Discord, right? It wasn't here like just a few years ago, and then
Yeah.
what they play kind of in the creator role. Like, how do you see it evolving in the years to come with all these new, like even ours, I guess,
Communication channels.
on new
Yeah.
like creator platforms, and like I saw you even sell, or you offer the posing guides on Kajabi, right? And you use like
Hmm.
Creator Spring, I believe I saw. So like all these new
Um,
platforms.
Retrieve.
Uh,
Retrieve is the one that I've used before. It's phenomenal.
so how do you see it like evolving over the years to kind of better more the creator economy?
I mean, it's a lot. I think the cream is going to rise to the top,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's just Kajabi that is really great for creators and like
Yep.
an all one stop, or Thinkific is just known, or Teachable,
Mm-hmm.
known really
Yeah.
well, and more on the marketing side. They did a really good job. I mean, you're going to have, like anything else, you're just going to have the things that become household names. And I I like it,
Yeah.
but I like it because it's going having a lot is going to cause the industry to raise the bar, and it's going to force that. Um, but with a lot means like it's a lot of research. Every time I want
Mm-hmm.
to do something, for example, I just launched a whole new website, created like a shop thing within Kajabi because they actually don't have carts, and it's like a massive workaround. But I have like merch that ordered my own merch. And I had to like research, okay, well, where do I get this printed? Well, there's Printify and Teespring and Gelato. And it's like, dear God, could somebody just be like,
And that was with Spring, right? You created all the merch.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, Spring. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, now I have two stores because Spring would not work within Shopify within the cart. So now
Yeah.
I have Gelato
Yeah.
and it's working with the cart. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I can't.
Yeah. I guess what's your philosophy then with it? Are you open to trying all of them, and then kind of like are you very in the forefront of you're open to trying these platforms, or is it
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll kind of try whatever. I won't
yeah.
just try it if I have a good solution in my hands already. I'm
Mhm.
not going to, waste time with that kind of research,
Yeah,
but even
definitely.
with the AI stuff, I use editors. I use Freedom Edits,
Hmm.
and they do everything for me. I spend zero time editing. My NAS that I have is automatically uploaded to Dropbox, so all I
Nice.
do is send them a link,
Perfect.
and then they cull, they edit, they export, they upload to my online gallery.
Nice.
So I do nothing. It's awesome.
Hmm.
However, I would be an idiot if I was looking at them as like, this is what I do, and not looking at all the AI solutions out there, because there are a ton of them.
Yep.
And that's a solution to a lot of the people that watch me. So it would be a disservice to them for me not to talk about it.
Hmm.
So You got to look at everything that's coming out.
Yeah,
Everything's changing so quickly.
definitely. Yeah, I think it's important as just a creator, right? You stay kind of up to date on the
Hmm.
trends and everything that's going, or else you fall behind real quick, just within like a couple of
Very
weeks.
fast.
Uh,
Yes.
so I guess kind of that leads me to the next question. Switching to just like the creators as a whole, what do you believe are some of the biggest challenges facing creators, or specifically educational creators today? And how do you think it
uh,
can be addressed?
Honestly, mental health. And that's probably the only time I've ever even said that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
But it is unreal how we are treated in the comments. And
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's like a massive amount of people. It's always like the one or two comments per video, maybe.
yeah.
Sometimes you get none. That are the bad ones in hundreds and thousands of amazing ones, but those are the ones that stick in your head. It can be very difficult. I know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when I talk to Manny Ortiz or Jared, like we'll send each other the comments back and forth, or what Jared will post one replying to it,
Yeah,
and I'm like, don't look at the comments, and then I'll do the same thing, and he'll yell at me, don't look at the comments.
yeah, yeah,
And now I actually have a virtual assistant that will go through and get rid of the nasty comments. I don't care if you
yeah,
disagree with me,
yeah,
by all means, but start calling me names
yeah. You don't have
and
to be
attacking
rude.
me
Hmm.
and my family. Like, oh, goodbye. I don't
Yeah,
need you living rent free in my life.
yeah. There's some rude, mean people out there for sure.
Hmm.
I guess kind of switching gears. Then, what do you? Because I know that's yeah, that is a big problem. Just the negative. You're kind of in the public now, but I guess they do say at least right. Once you get haters, you're kind of making it right. But
You made
still,
it.
like it'd be nice for them not to be so mean. But
Mm.
I guess what are some of the most rewarding aspects then of being the educational creator?
The stories and the thank yous I get from people.
Hmm.
Someone the other day, I had posted that short I talked about the client journey, and they said something along the lines of like, imagine you didn't go after your dreams, how many people you would not have affected. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh, that was incredible. That made, my month.
Yeah, I was taking a look at just the quick, your quick analytics, and almost 8 million people have viewed, probably your content, your seen your face, seen your content, been exposed to it. So that's pretty crazy to think, right? 8 million
It
people, eight
is.
million lives have been educated by you, and you've touched them. Not physically, obviously, but like, provided great insight into that. That's pretty crazy. Looking future forward now, what do you think the future is for the creator economy, and how do you see educational creators evolving to meet the changing needs of learners and consumers, kind of with the rise in people becoming creators in competition?
You know, I wish I knew the answer to that. If I did, I'd already be doing it, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in sort of a precipice of the creator community because it's gotten so
Yeah.
large. There just have to be things that are going to change, that are going to be better. One thing that I'm looking into, not to give it all away, but Canon has this lens, their 3D
Mm-hmm.
lens, that when you record with it and then edit it to be on like a 4K display on YouTube or on the phone, you can click and drag around the scene to look at what you want to look at. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's like, oh my gosh, that's so good for education. Now you can't look at it on like a PlayStation or like the YouTube Apple
Mm-hmm.
TV app. It doesn't format correctly. But on the phone or on the computer, you can, because you're learning, you're teaching, I don't know, lighting and posing. And we make the decisions on like what to cut and what angle to use for when and all of that. But what if the person learning could make those decisions and be like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, I want to see what Vanessa's doing right now. No, wait, I want to see what the light is doing right now. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I thought, I think that is going to be phenomenal. And again, you're not watching it like in goggles. That's a little
Yeah.
ridiculous
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
But it's just more resolution, being able to click and drag around a space to give yourself the best learning experience possible. And secondly, in person stuff. That's huge. I think that's coming back. I've seen the trade shows this year are a lot more populated. I'm taking a group of people to Italy in October. There's still 9 seats left. Um, And I think the in-person stuff for the creators is going to come back. And because of that, I think that's going to weed out a lot of people, or not weed out, but maybe section out a lot of people, because a lot of creators don't do well live, don't do well without a teleprompter. And I'm
Mm.
not hating, I'm just saying, like, that's going to create the space that each person's going to be in or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know definitely just within the last like decade, the rise in people becoming creators, even like part time has
Mm-hmm.
grown so much. I guess, would you recommend all photographers, or even I guess just even outside the photography realm, to like dive into some creator like work, even if it's part time, very side income? Like, would you recommend people start creating content, especially if they have a business?
I mean, if they
Being cre-
want to,
yeah,
but it's got to be something you want,
yeah,
because
authentic.
it it's fun. Well, yeah,
Mm,
authentic,
yeah,
but it's work.
yeah,
It's not like
mhm,
rolling over and being awesome for
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
It is a lot of work. So you gotta like it.
Last couple questions. The in regards to monetization, you don't have to give me a number, but more like pie chart thinking in terms of like
Mhm.
percentages. What are the ways you're able to monetize your brand? Almost like break down like, okay, ad revenue.
Yeah.
And only thinking creator side, so not the actual photo shoots, but like ad revenue,
Hmm.
affiliates, products. What
Yep.
does your kind of pie chart look like?
The biggest pie chart I would say is my own education. So the
Mm,
courses, the presets, the membership, that's at least 50% of it, if
nice.
not more. No, I'll say 40, and
Mm,
then maybe 20 to 30% is like the sponsors
mm,
stuff. So no, let's keep with 50 education. 30, yeah, 50 education,
uh,
30 the sponsored videos, like make this video, put this mid-roll ad in. And then the ad revenue, I don't make a lot on the ad revenue at
mm.
all. And then the affiliate stuff, I make even less. When people are like, "Hey, you want an affiliate link?" I'm like, "No, I really don't, because
No,
it's going to take me
more work.
longer
Yeah.
to put that in everything, and I won't make any money off of it."
Yeah, yeah. I feel that. Somebody starting out right now, maybe somebody's going to watch this and they're like, they know you, they're a follower, they're a photographer, or even outside the realm of photography, like they draw, they paint or something, and they're thinking about becoming an educational
Mm.
creator. What's like the top advice you'd give them?
Learn to capture your audience, because you could be an incredible creator, you could go viral on TikTok, you could do incredible on YouTube, but if you are not capturing your audience
Mm-hmm.
into your own ecosystem, you'll never be able to do anything with them. And any one of those platforms could go away in a second.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you have a system to capture your audience. What you decide to do with them later, whether it's put them in a free group and just have the community, or sell them stuff, that's up to you. Just find a way to hold on to your people.
For sure. And you're kind of referring to like, even that's why you create photo insiders and maybe like a newsletter, correct? Kind of
Like
just, yeah.
email lists,
Mm-hmm.
do your free downloads. A lot of people are doing text messages.
Oh,
A lot
yeah.
of people are just like, hey, join my free Discord. And that's capturing your audience too,
Mm-hmm.
in a way.
And then I guess what can we expect from you in the future in terms of creating content? I know I just saw your AI content. You're definitely staying,
Yep.
up to date, but yeah, what can your viewers expect from you in the coming year?
Lots of gear videos. I've got lots of gear videos
Uh,
coming out, tons and tons, and then photo shoots and
yeah.
little sneak peeks into inside what we're doing in Photo Insiders.
Uh,
And definitely film, definitely point and shoot. So I hope to be having a lot more fun with it
for
soon,
sure.
because I feel like I got a lot of the staple gear videos out of the way, and now I can just do some collabs and do photo shoots that I want to do,
Yeah.
and you guys can come.
Yeah. Balancing that kind of having fun,
Hmm.
creating content. Perfect. All right. Great. Well, thanks, Vanessa.
Thanks for having me.